What's up, everybody? Pretty fucking excited here. Fuck it. What's up, everybody? It's Chris from the BrahjCast, bringing you episode number 10. Got my homeboy, fucking Nickey P, on today, and we're talking Bitcoin. Cryptocurrencies been all over the fucking news today, and we're gonna fucking learn you all about it. And I've got 27 Bitcoin sitting in my e-wallet, so I don't know what the fuck you're up to, but I'm going to go cash them bitches out. $20,000 a piece. You know what? Fuck it. There ain't even going to be a podcast today because I'm rich, bitch. You're right. Still here, still fucking broke. Let's just start the show.
And now, this is the moment BrahjCast fans listening around the world have been waiting for. Live from the BrahjCast studios in Maizomanie, Wisconsin, it's time! 1 hour of mind-blowing conversation for the podcasting championship of the world. Introducing first, casting out of his office corner, he is a Jiu-Jitsu Grandmaster and a black belt at Knowledge Bomb University, boasting a perfect podcasting record of 420 wins with 0 losses. He stands at 5 feet 11 inches tall, weighing in at 180 1/2 pounds, fighting at a Maizomanie, Wisconsin, introducing the reigning, defending, podcasting champion of the world, the BrahjCast's very own Christopher Michael Carowitz.
Well, fucking A. Fucking A. Let's just fucking, I guess, officially start this motherfucker. Welcome to the motherfucking BrahjCast, everybody. Listening, talking to my guy Nickey P this week about fucking Bitcoin, no doubt. You fucking heard about it. It's been in the motherfucking news constantly. Now I can't open my fucking browser and not see something about cryptocurrency and Bitcoin. I think everybody's starting to fucking learn about it and start to really ask questions. I think we've all heard about it fucking back in the day. Everybody knows that famous story, has heard the famous story about someone buying a pizza with a shit ton of fucking Bitcoins, which according to today, I looked it up, which are fucking $20,000 a fucking piece. You know, that pizza was worth a couple $1 million.
Yeah, it must have been good pizza.
No shit. But as what this fucking podcast is all about, what everybody fucking knows what I'm all about is I'm always trying to fucking talk to people that actually know what the fuck is going on instead of bouncing ideas off myself and fucking just wondering. So I went out and found somebody that actually has fucking done some Bitcoin, knows what mining is, knows other cryptocurrencies, because there's more than just Bitcoin, which is just like everybody else. I'm fucking finding all this shit out too. But everybody, this is my guy, Nickey P. Nickey P, say hi to the motherfucking world.
Buenas noches, buenos dias, todas, olas, to todas.
There he is. So
how's everybody doing? I'm the Bitcoin guy.
No, this is the guy that's gonna fucking answer all of our questions today. He's
as
Bitcoin.
Good as I can.
He's fucking Bitcoin Jesus here.
Yeah, right.
So I guess to start off, man, I want to talk about how you got into Bitcoin, but I'm thinking maybe we should get a quick basic fucking rundown of what the fuck Bitcoin really is, or you know what cryptocurrency is. And I'm gonna let you kind of get a quick rundown, and you know, and I'll chime in or whatever. But
okay, we'll start from the beginning then. I guess we'll start back in 2008 when shit hit the fan, and our economy was going down, and we were bailing out banks and you know, taking our money to help people that have been stealing it from us for years and taxing us. And every time we write a bad check, we got to pay them $30. And basically what happened was somebody came up with an idea. The guy's name is actually Satoshi Nakamoto. He's supposedly a Japanese character who has been MIA since the creation of Bitcoin. What he actually did was he sat down and just wrote a paper, basically a thesis. And in this thesis, he described how a peer-to-peer banking system, or a way of exchanging goods or funds to one another, maybe possibly through a barter system, or a very wide outline of the dynamics of a new system that could be developed. And as he wrote this paper down, he introduced it to the internet and just kind of left it out there in an open source manner. And those of you who are familiar with computers and coding and things like that, open source means that someone will come along and present an opportunity and leave it open-ended instead of claiming ownership to it and not letting anyone touch it. Basically like a Facebook or something like that has had multiple people working on little small ideas of how your browser might work, or what might make the customer happier, or different things like that. And there's thousands of different individuals at colleges around the country, MIT, some of the more technical schools that have an opportunity as an entrepreneur to be able to do their own coding and introduce certain types of code that will allow the initial project to then have individual or specialized characters that go with it, or characteristics. So basically, he released this paper with a general idea of what was possible, and ever since then, in 2008 and 2009, people have read it, they've picked up on it, and they've started adding into it and developing it further and further as the years have come along. Basically, the main question that most people have right now is, how do I turn Bitcoin into buying some groceries at the store or something like that? And a lot of that stuff is yet to be worked out, which is why it's not mainstream all the way yet. But a lot of those things are also in the workings. I would say that one of the most recent things that's happened to me is a buddy of mine came up to me and he told me that he saw a Bitcoin ATM machine that was placed in a little convenience store next to his house. And that was kind of a big bell that started ringing for me, letting me know that they're coming, the Indians are coming. And that was about, I would say, maybe a month and a half ago. Bitcoin was at about $5,000 or $6,000, and everyone was even, there was a bunch of hoopla about it even then. And here we are 30 days later, and Bitcoin's at $20,000.
One Bitcoin equals 20,000 US. When I typed that into my my phone, I was like, what?
It's been absolutely amazing, and when he did that, that's basically when I started honing in on it. It was only about 30 to 45 days ago. I started throwing as much money as I could at it and learning, reading, educating. I've been watching documentaries. There is a premier gentleman who is actually, as of last week, I've been reading an article here. He's been a proactive member of the community, the Bitcoin community, and he's been going out, giving his own time and energy, presenting the Bitcoin scenario and all of the information way better than I could ever. And he has actually had the opportunity to present it to it would have been the Canadian Parliament, the Australian government section, whatever they might call it, their Senate, and many other governments around the world, just to give them a simple foundational education about what this currency is, how it might affect their country, what type of regulations might be necessary. And as of this point, they've been very careful with the regulations on it. Some of the Asian countries like South Korea and Japan have stepped in a little bit further. Australia has a money laundering committee, which they have now allowed or forced all of the Bitcoin transactions to actually filter through their money laundering program, just to keep an eye on it, since the growth has been so explosive. But his name is this gentleman's name is Andrei Antonopoulos, and he is a Romanian gentleman, I believe. I'm not really sure actually of his ethnicity, but
the guy who's going around, who's really advocating right now. Okay.
Yeah, and he's the one that's the real Bitcoin Jesus.
Yeah, you know what? I actually watched his. He was on Joe Rogan's podcast, I think. When you say he's the real Bitcoin Jesus, that's what they were calling him. He's. Yeah, I actually saw him on there, and He had Joe Rogan pretty perplexed, which is pretty fucking hard to do.
Oh yeah, the Joe Rogan one. I did see that. That was filmed about a year ago, but definitely, yeah, that was a great show. And what I was just reading, the article that I was talking about, is he's been going out and doing it just of his own free will because of how much he believes in it. He actually doesn't have a home. He's kind of, I don't know if he's hiding out from people, but basically he's got a lot of money that he made off of Bitcoin.
Right.
And maybe there might be people looking for him because of whatever reasons, but he's kind of on the low. And it said, this article was written, it looks like about a week ago, somebody blindly sent him 57 Bitcoin, which totals over $500,000 just for his contribution in educating people and bringing this Bitcoin into the realm of the reality of most people's minds in the mainstream. So, you know, what you'll notice in this community is that, you know, a lot of these people, they made these Bitcoins when they were nothing.
Right.
So easy come, easy go is the saying. But it's the community is close knit, and it's, they're all about donations. If you go to any Bitcoin or cryptocurrency website, you'll usually find at the bottom of that page a Bitcoin address where, if you should so feel it in your heart to donate, they have an address where you can send them Bitcoins. And I think that, you know, that was one of the first things that I started seeing is, you know, if you want to donate, here's the address on the bottom of all these web pages. And I was like, man, you know, but then I was thinking, who's going to send somebody, you know, $10,000? Well, somebody who just made $1 billion would send somebody $10,000.
No shit.
Because, you know, and they're calling this the revenge of the nerds, because this Bitcoin network has been created by high school, college kids that are at their mom's houses in the basement, working on their computers, playing video games, that might have know some coding or have some computer proficiencies in some way, shape, or form, and are literally have created a way to revolutionize our world from the inside out against the banking industry.
And that's a big part of, you know, and to play devil's advocate, or just to continue to always ask questions about what the fuck is in front of me, the Bitcoin, I wonder if it's Bitcoin itself, or is it the model behind it, that blockchain fucking
True.
That
Good
model behind it is really, you know, this open ledger, the open source part of it. So where everything is fucking held accountable. There's a 21 million Bitcoin cap. Nobody can just print motherfucking money every day like we do. You know, paper money.
Yep. You're getting into the specifics now, because most people have only heard of it as Bitcoin
right.
money. You know, and that's just the initial, that's the fish and hook. You know what I mean? The Bitcoin and the money is what gets you hooked. But you're exactly right. That's a great question. Bitcoin in and of itself is built on that open source platform and the coding for the computer systems. So the cryptocurrency, I'm sure all of us have heard the word crypto before, or cryptology, or encrypting a message, which is, you know, making it secret. Excuse me. So the cryptocurrency is actually a 34 bit character, which is hexadecimal, which will be numbers and letters, also capitalized letters and lowercase letters, mixed together in an address that will end up at a location which can end up being your wallet. And that might be pretty technical for a lot of people. And it is pretty confusing for sure. But I will say that definitely the bait and hook of the whole thing is that if it doesn't make dollars, it doesn't make sense. So the main thing that's got me even diving deeper is the fact that I put a couple $100 in, or $1,000 in, and I watched that $1,000 turn into $1,500. And it doesn't take long of that happening to get you pretty dang excited about something, you know? And the reason that most people are confused right now and they don't know anything is because they haven't put their money where their mouth is.
A lot of people are still in the asking questions phase, just the tip of the iceberg.
Exactly. And, you know, in order to really get in anything, you got to put a couple bucks on it. And then, you know, you're going to follow and keep a close eye on your money. So if you have a hard time educating yourself, or you don't like to learn, put some money on it and then just watch the news, and you'll start to understand more. I could say that.
Well, this is how let's talk about putting your money where your mouth is. For example, you said you're a couple hundred to 1,000 in. Now,
Oh, I'm past that for
right.
sure. That was
we
the
hear
get-go.
when the newly fucking educate, I don't know a goddamn term right now. When
The
somebody's
layperson. Yeah.
yes, when the layman person is hearing that, they don't understand what you mean by saying, and just for example, that you're $1,000 in. You're,
Okay.
now that I've learned a little bit more, I'm assuming you're $1,000 into mining. Is this correct?
That also, and there's
Okay.
multiple different aspects of it. For the most person, generally they're just going to try to open up a Coinbase account. A Coinbase account is a website in the United States. It would be like an E-Trade account or something like that.
Okay.
It gives you the capability to purchase these cryptocurrencies. At the moment, Coinbase is only featuring the top 3 coins, or the most popular of the 3 coins, which would be Bitcoin, Litecoin, and Ethereum. Those are the main 3. And I'll give you the reference on these. Now, Bitcoin, everyone knows the price of Bitcoin. It's $20,000. It's super high. They're referring Bitcoin as the gold, as a gold asset, a store of value, something you might buy a house with or a large purchase with. But the Bitcoin, even as of this point, the transaction fees are getting so high that in order for you to buy or sell a couple $1,000s worth of Bitcoin, it's going to cost you a couple $100s too. So it's getting into the range.
Now I got to stop you right there, because that sounds like it is completely against what Bitcoin is about.
Exactly.
That's where this argument really intrigues me, this ethical argument, because you've got to be able to exchange it, and you need this trusted, you need somebody to fucking do it. But then you got somebody, a human being, holding on to all this fucking money, man. And that's what that's in my opinion is what Bitcoin and the blockchain is trying to eradicate, to get rid of that.
Yeah, let me expunge on that.
There you go. Yep, for sure.
Okay, so the Bitcoin, and that's true. And I think, I'm not really sure of it, but what I think has happened is that the reason that these prices are getting so high is because of the traffic. So Bitcoin has become real congested lately because of so many people trying to get in on it. But let me go back to the gold reference as well. So Bitcoin is going to be considered more of a gold standard. And then this other coin that we're talking about, Litecoin. Now, Litecoin is going to be referred to more of the silver. So like I said, you're going to want to make bigger purchases with the Bitcoin. And what's funny is it almost seems like Bitcoin is the chariot that's riding before all of these other cryptocurrencies and paving the way to build people in people's minds an understanding of how this even works. And in order to do that, like I said, you got to have a big money value on it to pique people's attention.
Correct.
So we've got this big value on Bitcoin right now. And what's actually going to end up happening, like I said, is it might not end up being the main currency that, I'm buying. I'm not going to go buy bubblegum with Bitcoin. But what is going to happen, and this is why it's being referred to as gold and silver, is because Litecoin, which is about a week ago, it was at 150, but just in the past week, it took a real big rise, and it's just over 300 now. So it's a lot more purchasable for the common person right now at $300 a Litecoin. And we saw a big rush on that when they say after the holiday season, after Thanksgiving, everybody got together and kind of told each other about it. And then there was a bunch of big purchases from people getting in their Coinbase accounts.
I'm seeing videos of 80-year-old people buying fucking, Bitcoin and Litecoin, and it's amazing to me. It's like,
it is.
It's a thing.
I've been recording and snapping pictures of my computer screen at the growth of this stuff, because it is absolutely phenomenal, my man. It is. Like I said, I went out to breakfast this morning with a buddy of mine, and we talked Bitcoin over eggs and bagels. And we're just so excited about it, because every morning we look up, there's over 1,100 cryptocurrencies. And for the most part, more than 50% of them are growing at 10, 20, and 30% every day because of the influx of capital investment that's going into these companies.
Go ahead.
No, that's all right. We're getting all over the place now.
Yeah, I was just gonna say, to reel it back in, because we were back on that gold.
Yeah. So the Litecoin thing, what I'm thinking is coming up here. My buddy was telling me this morning that he had already read a couple things and this is what you got to understand too, is a lot of people are being careful about what they say about it. Now, we can get into Chase Bank. I've watched interviews of the vice president or the CEO of Chase Manhattan being interviewed and asked questions about Bitcoin, and he's blatantly denying, anything about it. He's, calling it a bubble. It might not be a good idea, this, that, whatever. But at the same time,
meanwhile,
but at the same time, who's going to be the number one investor of a company or an entity that's about to turn your company or entity upside down?
Mm-hmm.
So the banking industry was on this if they weren't the ones that created it themselves.
That's a good question right there, but that I think goes down more towards the ethical part of this fucking conversation, a little bit towards the bottom there. You had a great statement there, though, if they even created it themselves, because
they saw it coming. I mean, before us all, they've got the money and the lawyers and the this and the that. So just like the Chinese have, they're the ones that are mining more heavily than us, because they're the ones who actually make the equipment right there.
Jesus
Christ!
And,
I mean, I got a machine in my basement that came from China,
and the eerie fucking, when we started this, you mentioned the name Satoshi Nakamoto and briefly, glazed over him, but nobody knows who the fuck this guy is.
Absolutely. You want to hear my personal opinion?
I think I know who he is, but
yeah. So my personal opinion is this: when shit hit the fan in 2008. We got a bunch of American rich white boys, we're the good old boys of this country, and they will be damned if they're going to let our dollar just collapse, go broke. That's never going to happen. So when shit really hit the fan, I believe these guys got together, all of the Illuminati, the Rothschilds, whoever you want to call them, they got together and had some tea and coffee and crumpets, and they said, hey, we might want to think about this shit. And I think that they literally came up with this idea. And for me, the easiest idea to look at this is that basically right now the American dollar is about to collapse.
Yes.
It's been losing value for years. They basically been printing money for years. They did this bailout thing, and we're still just kind of make-believing like everything's okay. The stock market is at record high prices, whether it be the NASDAQ, the Dow Jones, or any of them. And basically, this is a way for people, rich American white men who have billions and billions of dollars, to be able to diversify their portfolio out of American dollars. So when shit hits the fan, all they have to do is grab their tickets to Dubai and take an airline ticket, trip over there, and they got all their money still.
Mm-hmm.
And that's about the best plan that I can come up with for this transfer of wealth. Yeah. Also being that it will also, the other big part of this is that it's going to create not only a one world currency, but that one world currency then puts us all on an equal playing field. So if your yen or your euro is worth twice as much of a dollar, when we meet at Bitcoin, it's all the same.
Yes.
And that is, the funny thing is, when the two towers in New York were brought down, they were the Twin Towers. And then they built one tower, which was called the Freedom Tower. But the actual address of that property is One World Trade.
Mm-hmm. Oh, no shit. Yeah.
And a lot of people don't know that.
So how does a planet work on a currency that has a cap at 21 million when there are 8 billion of us?
All right, good question. So Bitcoin right now can be devised all the way down to the, I want to say 8th or 9th decimal place. It might even go as many decimals as you can go. And I believe at the smallest portion of a Bitcoin, they call it a Satoshi. Which is,
that's fucking cool, of course.
Like 1/1000th of a Bitcoin is one Satoshi, I believe.
Named after its creator. That's fucking dope.
So you're right. Yeah, there's going to be, right now, there are about 16.5 million Bitcoins that have already come into fruition, that exist in reality, and people are buying, selling, and trading them. But like you said, there will be a cap of 21 million of these coins that are produced.
And we know basically when that's going to pretty much come up because of how the mining process works. We know that, what is it, 25 Bitcoins every 10 minutes or something? Like there's a...
So there's a curve, yeah. There's a
Right.
big curve that goes on. So as of November 2016, there were 24 Bitcoins that were able to be mined. I don't know if it was, I don't know what the time period was, if it was in 1 day or if it was in 10 hours, but there was a certain amount of Bitcoins that could be mined in a certain amount of time. Now, as of November 2016, that amount went to half. So it went from 24 Bitcoins to 12.
And is that because we're nearing the cap? Is that why that happens? I'm trying to understand it. It would make sense. It would get smaller and smaller and smaller until we get the cap.
True. So basically, this is going to continue in this same matter. This curve of halving will take place actually until it's going to be at least 100 years, I believe. It's either 2140 or 2045. I'm not sure. I should have those numbers in front of me. But it will continue to halve for at least about another 100 years, 50 to 100 years. And what that means is that as these coins become, so let's say right now, last year, so they went from 24 to 12. So it's going to be 2020, they will half again. So they're going to go from 12 to 6.
Mm-hmm.
And when that happens, just imagine what's going to happen to the Bitcoin. Bitcoin will probably already be over 100,000. But on that very day that happens, that's going to create double the demand,
Well,
and it's going to cause outbreak pretty much. People are going to go crazy, cuckoo.
But at that point, we shouldn't have American dollars anymore to call a Bitcoin worth $100,000 because a Bitcoin at that point should just be worth.
Very good point.
You know what I'm saying? Like, like it might be
all we know.
Fucking A, man.
All the kids know.
Exactly. Like Bitcoin, like you said, like Bitcoin could, and these are all hypothetical scenarios, but like you wouldn't purchase a candy bar with a Bitcoin because it'd be like purchasing it with a $10,000 bill. You wouldn't want change back, so you'd use your Litecoin, your change.
Exactly. And there's also economic, technological, and astronomical reasons for this transformation as well.
Absolutely.
And I will explain that because since we all know that gold and silver are finite sources and hard to be found, I believe that our governments have begun to make the decision that it will be better off to use these substances towards technological advance than as a store of value.
No doubt.
So they needed to find a way to replace that. And the math, and this is the other statement. This is probably the most powerful statement, and I'll say it twice. They say the future is going to be so advanced and so artificial intelligence and machine operated that in order for us to have the rule of law, we will no longer be able to operate by law. That we will need to move into a more secure environment, which will be the law of mathematics. And mathematics do not lie. It's
That's
like what
true.
happens when Jesus tells a lie? It becomes the truth. So, we're not going to be, there's the complication, the technology is going to be so complicated that we're not going to have time for a court system to say, how did you feel when Joey hit you in the face and you cried and then you lost your shoes got dirty, or, nobody's going to have time to care about those variables. The variables that we're going to be dealing with in the future are going to be perfect, exact, and to the micro decimal as in a Satoshi.
Which sounds pretty fucking computer-like, and AI-like.
Absolutely. And you could look at it in the same way that we start our cars today. I do a little bit of locksmith service. I program keys and stuff. That's what I do in my regular business. And before you can put your key in your car, you've got a chip in there that has an RFID, a radio frequency identification, that if you put the wrong key in the wrong car, they're not gonna exchange the right information. And basically that's exactly what the Bitcoin is too, is you've got this big long address and you're gonna send it to another long address, and if it doesn't line up, then the transaction can't take place. But if it does and everything's a go, then bingo, we got a transaction.
And how, and it's what we need and what we want, but how do we get it to work? Because this world is fucking seems like it's built on fucking fees. I want to go to the ATM. It costs me $2 to get my own fucking money.
Absolutely.
Like you said in the beginning, if I wrote a check and shit happens, I got to pay 35 fucking bucks, and that's just a fee that I don't know. That a lot of this money is just fucking made up out of nowhere. There's no really good or service fucking.
Well, we got to be real careful because of how far, you know, me and you are way ahead of the bunch, and that's why you getting out on this podcast is really good. I mean, for the most part, I try to ask I catch people on the street and I say, you know anything about Bitcoin? You know, I'll be in the elevator. I'll pull the Bitcoin on somebody in the elevator, in the bathroom, you know, just because it's like the airplane conversation. You're never going to see him again. You just try to get a reaction. And I'll tell you, I can't believe how many people are just they don't even have a clue. No
idea.
And they don't want to have a clue.
That's the problem.
Yeah.
Because then that leaves a select few who know to be in on it. And
exactly.
You know,
this is you know, it's funny because I have a Korean friend that told me I should start getting into Bitcoin 9 years ago, right when it came out. He was like, he read that paper and he was like, you should get into Bitcoin. You should get into Bitcoin. And it's like that guy 40 years ago that told you should have buy the Walmart stock. You know?
Right.
So that's that one thing in my life that even when I thought that I was a little bit late on this, I still jumped all in as fast as I could. And I managed to get in on Bitcoin at about 6 or 8 grand. I've got 55% of one Bitcoin right now. And I'll tell you what, just that 55% of that Bitcoin has paid me more every week than most people I know going to work.
No doubt.
And that means more than $1,000 a week just for holding. So the future's looking bright. A month ago when I got into it, they were predicting that maybe before the end of this year, Bitcoin would be at 10,000, and we're at 20.
It's already at 20.
So, you know, the game is wide open, and then we could get into the futures that opened up as well. The Chicago Mercantile Exchange opened up last week, I believe last Sunday, the 10th of December. They introduced a financial asset which was packaged in a conformed way to the laws of the states and the government of however they want it, or the financial workings. I'm not too tuned into, you know, IRAs and 401ks,
right,
that stuff. But basically, the introduction of futures will give people the opportunity to bet against it, and at the same time allow them to take some of their 401k money or whatever that is and invest it in the Bitcoin and keep that in their 401k tax free as well. So they can buy a Bitcoin now, let it grow and earn all that money tax free, and then when they retire, they can pull that Bitcoin out at 150 or 200 grand and retire on it tax free, which is genius. If you ask me, I heard somebody in the locker room talking about it yesterday, and I was like, that is genius. The most tax free way of doing it.
Right. But nonetheless, it is still a gamble, correct?
It is. People will tell you it could be a bubble. Anything could happen. There's no doubt about it. But the only way that you can look at that is like, it's been going on for 9 years just to get to this point, you know?
For sure. And
that's what gives me, I guess that was one thing for me. And then the other thing for me was listening to not only people that were hugely rich and involved in it lie about it, but then listen to other people who are hugely rich tell the truth about it and how they were invested in it.
Right.
And those two things let me know that it's definitely time to jump in on it. And it's going to be something.
And I'm seeing these interviews and a lot of these faces that are getting into Bitcoin, and it's like when Bitcoin was facing like this regulation, it's facing regulation or was facing a few years ago in New York. There's like that, there was this team, whoever's in fucking charge of that, whoever does that, there's a team that made this thing called the Bit license. And not to go all deep in on that, but that's basically if you want to like exchange or do anything with Bitcoins in the state of New York, you have to conform to this license.
Yep,
blah, blah, blah.
You killed it right there. You murked it. All right, so that was Mt. Gox. Now, Mt. Gox was a website that was operating out of New York, and what Mt. Gox was a video game website where video gamers would go and compete and play video games, and they would, they could buy and sell armor or, you know, if you beat a whole bunch of people, then you got all these coins and you could get new knives or new guns for your game. And that's basically where this stuff was created. Like I said, Revenge of the Nerds, it was created by a bunch of guys who were playing these video games and creating, you know, miniature value within their game where they could have the coolest car in, you know, what's that video game? Grand Theft Auto, you know?
Right.
Basically, you accumulate these points and then you get the best of the best. You could have the fastest car, or you could get a helicopter to go kill people in your army game, or whatever it might be. And then they turn that into actually turning it into money, where if you won a video game, now I can send you Bitcoin, and then you could take the Bitcoin and go buy a candy bar or, you know, a pair of shoes or whatever the hell you wanted. And the thing with Mt. Gox is that it was a racket. So the guy that got the license, he got the first license to do it and to do the bit exchange. And he took in hundreds of millions of dollars from people, and he ended up bankrupting the site and just tried to walk away with everybody's money. And he did for a few years. And I want to say it was maybe just a year ago or so, they found the guy in Japan. He'd been living in Japan, and they got him. And this guy, I mean, he got hundreds of millions of dollars from people, you know.
Which is
yeah, and that was the first one. That was the OG, the originator, and it left a bad taste in a lot of people's mouth about this whole thing.
For sure. And more or less, kind of what I was getting at though was with that whole bit license and the legislation that took place in New York. Those were fucking high-ranking dudes and women, and now a few years later, that entire team that is responsible for creating that whole piece of legislation is now not even a team. They're all gone. They've all been replaced, and they all work in their own fucking consulting firms. They all have their own, you know, my name blank consulting, my name principal consulting, and they all are like they're all like involved in fucking Bitcoin.
Absolutely. And another thing to go along with that is, if you know anything about the banking industry, you talk to anybody in New York City, even as of now, in a lot of the videos that I've been watching and things that I've seen, is people are leaving their jobs.
Yeah.
Goldman Sachs and all these TD America and all these big banks and stuff like that to go and start their own ventures, because the dollar is not going to be around anymore. So why do they need to work with Goldman Sachs and Bank of America? You know, they're better off getting out there right now at the early limits, like me and you, and doing as much homework as you can, because time is of the essence. And if you don't get in now, it's going to be too late in 12 months, you know?
It seems so fucking Wild Westy.
Yeah, and even right now, I mean, I would even say that they have controlled this, even the media attention and stuff like that, almost until right about now. They want it to come out now that it's 20,000, because they know nobody can afford 20,000.
Right.
But they keep the Litecoin there so that you can just get a little nibble on it. They don't want to be too mean. They still want you to taste it, but they want you to taste it so that they can sell you more.
But man, I don't understand. I'm understanding where we're at now with it. I'm having a hard time understanding the future, to where we get to the point to where I still go to work, because right now, if I want to get Bitcoins, I want to fucking mine them. And we need to basically glaze over what mining is for the listener, because I basically understand it now, but people hear that, and I swear to God, they think that
this is going to
like Minecraft or some shit like that. You know what I'm saying? Like you're doing some weird fucking shit.
This is going to paint the picture of a whole different, this is kind of the back end scene. And when I even think about it, it gets kind of scary. So the mining of these coins is actually the computation work that's being done, as, let's say me and you do a Bitcoin transaction, and I send you $100 in Bitcoin. And what's going to happen is, as I submit this payment, it's going to submit to the network. The network is going to confirm this transaction up to 6 different times. So before you're able to receive your money, that transaction is going to filter through an individual node on the market, which might be me or might be my guy next door who's got some computers who's mining as well. And it will filter through a a non-centralized location, which could be any person who has this computer system set up and is mining, and their computer will actually do the transaction and the confirmation that the address that sent it from and the address that sent it to is correct, it's legit, and we give it the thumbs up. And once it does that, it's going to pass that share to another person who's doing the mining as well. They're going to give it another confirmation, and it's going to do this 6 times. That's how safe the network is. It's going to check it 6 times, and it's going to take about maybe 20, 30 minutes before it actually shows up in your account. And that's the network work that's being done, and the peer-to-peer operation that is the actual decentralization of the back-end work of it.
And the incentive to do that is?
Exactly. And the incentive for you having a computer and participating in the network or becoming a node on the network, like a headquarter or a centralized, a decentralized, just a guy. I'm the guy in my area. I cover everybody around me, say. But I will be rewarded for doing that and having my computer on with Bitcoin or with Litecoin or with Ethereum. And there are different websites that maybe will pay you in the currency that you want, or I guess we should talk about the algorithm. So in order to mine Bitcoin, it's a specific algorithm, which is SHA-256 is what it's called, SHA-256. Litecoin is still a cryptocurrency also, but it has a different algorithm. The mining machines for the Litecoins are called ASICs. An ASIC machine is an algorithm-specific integrated chip. And what it is basically like a toolbox packed full of computer chips that have the ability to process 504 megahashes a second. Now, I don't know what a megahash is or whatever, but it is some serious computing power, because the machine itself, well, I'll tell you this, and this is how much the market has changed as well. 1 month ago, I bought one of these machines for $4 grand. When I look to purchase them now online, they're going for $7 grand. That's how much the market has changed with the price of Bitcoin in the last 30 days. It's unreal. I mean, I can go on Amazon.com as well, where I've bought some of my computer components, and just computer motherboards, computer DDR4 RAM, computer processors, all of them are up 30 to 40%. And it's because they're being bought out at such a rate that they can't even keep up with it, because people are finding out about participating in the network and actually having a computer that will earn you money in your closet or in your basement. And that's the thing, right now the network is not set up, but as more people start to participate and more people start talking about it, the number one thing right now that most of these cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin Cash is a branch of Bitcoin, and Litecoin is also another cryptocurrency. And what they're finding out now is that more people are coming in, they're asking these questions, but they're not, they're not actually able to spend the money. So the first thing that these cryptocurrencies are doing, and think of each cryptocurrency as like a company, each or even a stock or something like that. You're buying a share or a piece of this company. So what they're finding out now that they need to do is they want to get a physical entity into these people's pockets and their hands, which is a debit card. So once they have this debit card, they're like, okay, I got my Litecoin on my computer. I can see it there, but now I got a card and I can use it. Now, there's not many places that even accept Bitcoin or Litecoin right now, but watch. 2018 is the year of Bitcoin. And I will almost guarantee the same way that legislation comes into fruition, say, 3 years ago there was a law passed, but it's not going to start taking place until, the fiscal year or the calendar year, January 1st, 2018. There were things that were put into play 3-4 years ago that are going to begin coming 2018. And one of the big things is going to be the ATM machines, I believe.
ATM machines are such a big fucking ripoff, man, having to fucking pay money to get your own fucking money. How much money
buying money.
Just how much money I've given away just to get my money. Fuck you. It's such bullshit.
And that's exactly what it is. You got to pay to play. If you go to a baseball game, you're going to pay $9 for that beer, and you're going to pay $12 for a hot dog. And that's kind of what this Bitcoin is. It's not for the little boys anymore. And the transaction fees are kind of big. But hey, if you want to make 1,000, then you better be willing to pay 100.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and that's why it's, you know, just I was just able to catch on to the tail end of this dragon, and I'm just hanging on. It's unbelievable.
What's got another thing that's got me interested in, and as you were talking about the computing power that is required. A lot of naysayers or a lot of people will raise the question about the stress on the network that this could, you know, this is a big influx on our networks and computing power and on the internet that we're not used to. And but what I think the answer to that is that you know, that sort of competition to make mining machines that are even more efficient in the future will be a plus for us, because competition always breeds innovation, I think, is maybe a statement. Absolutely. Or something like that. You know, you're going to want to yep. sell your shit. I'm going to need my mining shit to fucking be cooled and work at 90 teraflops. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's yep. going to obviously be better. So I'm going to innovate.
Absolutely.
And so
the number one thing is that you know, the people in our country, all these rich white businessmen are being very careful with the regulation that they're putting on Bitcoin right now, because they know, you know, this is what people need to know first off and foremost, is that America is not the forerunner in this currency. We are far, far behind the Chinese, the Koreans, yes. and the Japanese. Yes. And they have taken a much stronger stance on it, and a very more proactive advancement towards it. So the American businessmen that are at, you know, Goldman Sachs and these different banks right now are realizing that if they don't get heavily invested into it, that our country is at risk. Our country is at risk for the first time in history of not being the world power, you know. Mm-hmm. And that is a very scary thing for these white men, these rich white men.
You know, it's said that we already pay China like $250 billion a day or $1 million a day, or sorry, we borrow that much from them, which in turn leaves us with an incredible debt. What I wonder is what $21 trillion in what we all understand as US dollars and really put faith in is 21 trillion US pieces of paper. But what happens to like that type of shit? Like, our debt like gets erased, you know, like, or yeah. You know what I'm wondering? These are questions way above me, but I wonder about that type of stuff too, and how that's got to, you know, because obviously that's all got to be a factor. Otherwise, yeah. It would be cool as fuck. It'd be just like, yeah, fuck that US dollar. Let's go to BC, and boom, now all of a sudden we're at a surplus. You know, we're out of debt.
We could take this back, and you're going to like this one. This is something that your average everyday Joe can, and I think this is one of my gifts, maybe, you know, to take it down to the layperson to make it real easy to understand. So one of my favorite movies is Goodfellas. Yep. I love that movie. It's great. You know, who could argue with that movie? So in that movie, there's a saying, and I say it all the time, you know, when you can't borrow another dime from the bank, what do? You bust the joint out. And that's exactly what these rich white businessmen are about to do to this country. We're about to file bankruptcy, and we're going to leave that tab, that big bill, for somebody else, because we're not going to pay it. We're way too smart and cool for that. We're going to create a whole new world currency and make it look like someone else created it and that we don't own it, or we're not in control of it.
That sounds more like us. that sounds
like the American hegemony.
Yeah, that sounds like the world we live in right there.
So that's what I think is going on here. And the American dollar's tanking. And basically, it's just a great way for people to get out of the dollar and put it into this Bitcoin, and you'll be safe. You can still have all your millions.
You know, and we're already used to it. We, you know, I think when we talked earlier, maybe it was you, I was talking to somebody else. We're used to this fucking digital money. You know, within the last 10 years, especially with PayPal, but Amen. Now we have fucking Android Pay, Apple Pay. You know, I'm not there yet. I don't pay with shit with my phone just yet, but everything I buy on eBay just goes straight through PayPal. You know,
so let me give let me give you the Chase Manhattan scenario. And this is what happens when you begin to enter different circles of reality. So I've been going, there's a restaurant called Potbelly's. I'm sure you've heard of it.
Yep.
Potbelly's. They got good soup and sandwiches. Just a little place I like to go and get some soup and sandwich. And I've been going in there for a year, and in front of their counters for over a year now, they've had these little square boxes that look like a camera in front of the counter by the cash register.
Yep.
And I've seen them there, and they're sponsored by Chase, or Chase donated them, whatever. And it's used for, I don't use Apple Pay. I've got an iPhone, but I don't ever use Apple Pay. But I guess I asked the person, I said, is that, what do you do with this? You put your phone there, and then it takes a picture of the little captcha or whatever. And she said, yeah, you can do that. And then we've got our gift certificates also. Some people have them on the phone, and you just hold the phone up to the thing. It takes a picture, and it takes the money out of your account.
Jesus Christ.
And I'm sitting there after seeing, how Bitcoin is exchanged and how you've got a barcode or a captcha. And basically, you take a picture of it, and it gives you the address, and you send it there, and that's it. And I'm sitting there, and after I just bought my first Bitcoin, I started putting some money into Bitcoin, and I go there to get a sandwich, and I'm looking at it. And this is also after watching the CEO of Chase lie about it at Harvard University or wherever he was getting interviewed. And I just came home, and I'm eating my soup, and I'm just shaking my head, and I'm saying, they already got this down. It's already been there. They already been waiting on us. They've been waiting on us. So that's the thing. This network is already there. It's not optional anymore. We don't have a decision. This work has been going on in the background for 9 years. And I'll put it this way. I got in 30 days ago. The market cap on the entire cryptocurrency market was just over 100 billion. As of today, it's sitting at 540 billion.
Jesus.
So I've watched it quadruple in 30 days. I think they say the total value of the American, the stock market, or maybe all of the money is, you said it too, 21 trillion.
Yeah.
That number comes about. And that might be like all the money in circulation or something like that.
Well, that's just all debt.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I'm not too sure how much money would be in circulation because, there's so much shadow money out there.
That'd be a good question, too. Do we even have enough money in circulation to match our debt?
Oh, definitely not. Definitely not. And there's definitely not enough gold. You know what money, you know what money is, used to be called silver certificates, and now every US dollar is supposed to be worth $1 of gold, basically, in Fort Knox and all these other fucking gold vaults around the nation. But there can't be, as much gold versus how much real dollars have been printed and made over the years. That's all not even worth anything anymore.
Absolutely. And we've known about it. They told us about it,
And since there's no truth in that, basically you just get us to go in onto, instead of when I buy something for $10, I don't go to my bank, get $10 worth of gold or $10 worth of money, go to your bank and fucking exchange it. It's basically just fucking digitally. It's just numbers on a screen. When you check our bank accounts on our screen.
Oh, yeah. And you can tie that in with the Federal Reserve.
Which is not even a goddamn fucking federal thing. That's just the name of it. It has nothing to do with fucking government. It's a privatized company which controls the money. Are you fucking kidding me?
And literally and it says right off of the bat, because they charge interest for every dollar they make, for every dollar that's brought into production, you owe $1.25.
And that's not even real money. Yeah, that you're just making fake money then, or you're making, you're inflating what that shit.
So what you're referring to is the gold-backed dollar. And actually there was a president, I don't know if it was Nixon or what presidency it was, but they basically went ahead and told us we're moving away from the gold-backed dollar. It's no longer, we don't have the gold for it. So now it's just paper. And they told us about that, 30, 40 years ago.
So all it is, man, is the faith that we put in this paper money.
And that's a very good thing that you just brought up, because that is exactly the value of Bitcoin. Exactly. Bitcoin's exact value is the consensus decision that says, this is the amount of electricity that people have been using to bring it into fruition. This is how much we had to pay for the computer equipment. This is how much the network needs, the timing, all of that different stuff. And that's what brings the value to, you know, the same thing that brings a value to if you're starving and you have a candy bar, or if you're starving and you don't. You know, that candy bar might be worth $100 if you're really hungry.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Exactly.
So yeah, the value of things is something that we're all yet to learn, and I think tough times help us learn the value of what money really is. And we've all been through tough times. I mean, we saw it with the crash of the economy 10 years ago, and you know, you could put it into how much you value your friendships, or how much you value your family, or your time with your girlfriend.
Yeah, fuck yeah.
You know, when you're sick in the hospital and the doctor tells you got a week left, you know, that time becomes a lot more valuable.
That's true. And you were talking movie quotes. One of mine and my wife's favorite movie quotes is fucking "Money isn't real, Georgie." And that's
man, no, you didn't. You just did. That's one of mine too. Right. Real, George. It always seems that way. And that's what this cryptocurrency got me feeling like, because for the first time in my life, I'm playing with these
You're
little
a real player, yeah.
Yeah. You're playing a video game with this money.
Yeah.
And it makes it unreal. But when it comes down to it, the paper money in your pocket's just the same. You can light it on fire. Who cares?
Mm-hmm. Exactly.
It's just got a pretty picture of an old dead guy.
Exactly. Exactly. They, you know, estimates that the US dollar is worth about 4 cents in reality, you know, like, you know, I listen at work when every year some insurance or life, or I don't know what, the 401k people come in and they basically pay a salesman from a private company to come in to talk to our company, a bunch of dudes, and
try to get you signed up.
And they're like, listen, you just put away this bit of money here every week, and when you retire 30 motherfucking years from now, you're going to have $500,000. And I'm thinking to myself, who gives a fuck, motherfucker? And right now, who gives a fuck? Because in 30 years, $500,000 is going to be the price of a fucking a shitty house. You know, I mean, like
Yep.
35 years ago in 1970, when the same salesmen were coming to our parents and saying the same shit, they're like, look, motherfucker, you give us money every week, and when you retire, you're going to have $250,000, $250,000. And what the fuck is that in 2020? That's enough to maybe get you by. Like, that's a lot of money, but when you get it, boom, taxed, boom, this, boom, that, you're left with half.
Oh yeah, you can buy a shitty house for $250,000 these days.
You know, and then have no money for the rest of your life. So basically, you retire off this $250,000, which back then sounded like fucking just a lot, because you know,
probably was twice. Yeah,
you know, exactly. And nobody's, and I'm looking around, and I'm the only one like asking questions. Like, I'm like, what the fuck is this, and what is this, like, how does this make sense? And the salesmen are like, you know, and poke a little joke and shit, and just keep going. And I'm like, fuck you, man. I know what the
full
fuck
of bullshit.
you're doing. I know if somebody has to pay you money to come down here and fucking do this, fuck you. Like, that's where I'm at with that bullshit.
Just the fact that he's making money off you trying to sell it lets you know
lets you know it's I don't want to call it a scam, but it's not fucking a benefit for society.
Exactly.
You know, my buddy, it's like insurance. Fuck you, man. It's not a benefit for society. You're just a skis.
It's like the lottery question my buddy put up on Facebook the other day. He said, you know, you just won the lottery. You want $4,000 a week for life, or 20 million right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, if you gave me $4,000 for a week, I mean, it would take me 4 or 5 years to become a millionaire to be able to actually buy a big purchase.
Right.
You know, like, and I might get hit with a car or have a telephone pole fall on me tomorrow.
Exactly.
Tomorrow is not, and that's what I wrote. I said, give it to me now. Tomorrow's not promised. Thank you very much.
Exactly. And then what happens when you have all this money, and then all of a sudden digital currency takes over, some major Trump fucking tweet storm, and all of a sudden we have no US dollars, you know, you're just hung out to dry. Like, man, nothing is ever for certain, man.
Oh, I'm telling you, man, there was a guy, before they introduced these CME futures, there was a gentleman in the New York Times. He's been investing for 20 or 30 years, his whole life. He took out a full-page ad in the New York Times and warned that the introduction of Bitcoin and the futures to the financial market could be so influential and cause such a rush that it could collapse the economy in the same way that when the put options or the call options were put, in 1929, when everyone started calling in their loans and the banks just couldn't handle it, and it created the depression. And that's what this guy. I mean, the guy took. I mean, I don't know how much that ad must have cost, but he was willing to take it out and say, "Look, I'm not bullshitting. Like, this is going to be big."
Man, so many questions, and we're at the the forefront of this fucking revolution, which is super fucking exciting. But
yeah, it's going to be a roller coaster, and
exactly,
all I can suggest is if you got a couple bucks, put it in there. If you got 500, put 500 in. A lot of the rich guys, they say just take 1% of what you got and put it in. But for me, not me. I have jumped. I've got, like I said, I got about a half a Bitcoin now, so I got 10 G in, and then I got about another 5 or 10 G in computer equipment, which is actually mining and making money right now.
As we speak.
Most people go out and they spend 10 or 20 grand on a car, and they got to pay $400 or $500 a month. I went out and spent 10 grand on computers, and they make me $100 a day. It's paying me $3,000 a month.
Sick.
And I've actually got it to where I'm leveraged right now, where my portfolio is so diversified that basically all of my money, my machines will pay all my bills. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
If I'm making $3,000 a month, that's paying my rent, it's paying my car, it's paying my insurance, it's buying my food. And then I've got the money that's sitting in Bitcoin, which is also growing an asset. And what I did is I took a couple thousand on some wild stocks, some of these smaller ones, the smaller cryptocurrencies that are about, 48 cents or 50 cents right now. But they're growing at 10, 20% a day. So I put $1,000 in a couple of these a week ago, and I got 1,500 already.
Nice.
So, and that's just in a week or two. So, I mean, by the end of the year, this 1,000, if it goes from 33 cents, to $1, that's obviously 3 times. But what if it gets to $12?
Yeah.
What if it hits $17.50?
Yeah.
Like, I'm gonna have a brand new Ferrari soon. and that, to the point you brought up earlier is about, do I want to be old and have all this money? I was listening to Ty Lopez. He's this younger guy. He does some YouTube commercials and inspirational stuff, trying to get people to read. And he does videos with his Ferraris in the background, trying to motivate people. And he's like, dude, I don't want to be 90 with a Ferrari, like I want to be able to get that money and to achieve things now so that I can enjoy them. What good is it to me later?
True. Fucking wild, wild west is just what it sounds like. It's so fucking, I said that earlier, but there's like no way to describe it. And for our generation, it's our first, I think it's our first taste of it. Obviously it is our first taste of a more level playing field, or just a big fucking change, or it's just something we need. It's something our generation has been missing. We've had a lot of things regulated and changed for, in my opinion, like kind of like for the worse, to kind of like strip us down of certain things. And this is the first thing that could actually is gaining momentum and is actually fucking.
You know what I think it is? I'll tell you what it is. So basically this cryptocurrency market, right now there's around 1,300 different cryptocurrencies or coins or tokens. They've all got different namesakes.
Right.
But basically this is an entire stock market that has been created on top of, the NASDAQ and the Dow Jones and all this. And what I think and what I see is that this is an entirely new stock market created to be the most dynamic and influential, because each one of these tokens or coins or cryptocurrencies are not just a stock. They're not just a share. They are an initiative, and they are the beginning of a program, of a design of the way we are going to start living. This is the creation of entirely new markets, and they actually call it the Internet of Money or the Internet 2.0. And this is now that we've laid the groundwork for all of the web, and we got the wires and the hard work down, and we can connect, and we got IP addresses. Now we're going to start putting it to work. You know, we're moving into artificial intelligence. And also what these cryptocurrencies are, from what I understand, is that in the future, as we have different machine entities which are able to do different abilities and different capabilities, you might have one computer exchanging value with another computer. And that means that, let's say I'm at my desk and I need to hire a computer to find me a mailing list for all the newlyweds in between the ages of 30 and 35 that just got married in the last 6 months, you know? And I ask my computer to do that. My computer doesn't know how to do that. So he subcontracts another computer to find that information, but we've got to pay that computer for finding that information. Mm-hmm. And the exchange of value will come through a cryptocurrency or through a token. And that's where we get into smart contracts, which is the base root of Ethereum, which is the one that we haven't really talked about. Ethereum is a platform. And I'm sure most people understand what a platform is. Facebook would be a platform. Mm-hmm. And on that platform, you can exchange photos, you can send music, you can tell your friend he's ugly, or, you know, whatever you want to do. It's a platform where everyone gets onto the platform and then we all do our different dance. Ethereum is pretty neat because it is a smart contract platform, which will allow you, and I saw on some of these websites where I was reading because I was trying to understand it, and what it actually talks about is how a smart contract can be a programmable contract that will execute certain variables or certain dynamic things, I guess, at a certain time, depending on other variables. So let's say, let me paint a picture. So let's say I want to design my will, and this is where it really started to stick out to me and make sense to me. So I'm going to die, but I've got a whole bunch of money and I've got a bunch of companies and a bunch of things that are still going on. So I want to dictate how my nephew is going to get their money and how much money I want to go to my cousin, or how much I want my CEO at the company to make an increase in his raise, you know, after he does this. And what this allows you to do is program into a contract that, let's say, if this, and this were to happen, then we should execute this, and this scenario. Mm-hmm. And that is, you know, not only is it hard to put your mind around, but it starts to go into the power one of the supercomputing power that's coming on board by all of us establishing these computer networks as nodes. And then two, what that means for programming the future. That means that after people are gone, that you can still basically inject your will
right
into the reality which exists.
That's fucked up.
Yeah. And that starts getting kind of spooky, you know, like, so after I'm dead, I can control, you know, what the people in my company are going to do and how they're going to do it. Mm. And that gets into a whole nother, you know, realm of really smart thinking and above most people's pay grade thought processes. And I would say that's, you know, and I haven't even touched on that. I'm getting prepared to start educating on that stuff because of how deep it is. Just trying to formulate the basis of how some of these new companies are coming out, you know, and I guess the best way for most people to educate themselves is to go to the websites on each one of these cryptocurrencies and just listen to, you know, what their plan is for the future, because they're all just babies right now. They're all in their infancies, and the reason that the market was created so that they could take on angel investors, you know. Mm-hmm. It's a new way of getting venture capital, pretty much. And what it is, though, is these companies aren't you know, bureaucratic companies like Lever 2000 or what, you know, Procter and Gamble, these huge companies that own everything. Nabisco, you know, you look at, they own one company, but then they own every other thing that you buy too. Yeah. You know, like you you thought you're buying the competition and you're really just buying the same guy. And what they call that is they call that you know about the duopoly?
No.
Oh man, it's amazing, and everybody knows about it, but no one thinks about it. I'll go through a real quick list. Every Nike has a Reebok. Every McDonald's has a Burger King. You know, every Ford has a Chevy. Every, you know, whatever you want to do. It's an up and a down. It's a left and a right. It's the polarity of every single thing. And sometimes what will end up happening, well, every Coke has its Pepsi, you know. So, and what will end up happening is if somebody gets so rich or one of them does so good, they'll just buy out their competition and say, you know what? If they're not going to come to us, they'll go to our competition and we'll still make the money.
Oh, yeah. I've heard that called a silent partner, where they'll just buy them out but keep that name so we think that we're buying the competition shit. But really?
Yeah. Oh, they got us good. They got us so good. And that's where you start getting into, you know, like Edwin Bernays, who was the
I know that name. What is that? Who is he?
He is the gentleman who came out with campaigns for women to start smoking at the Valentine's Day parade in New York City. He had a whole bunch of women come out into this parade, and it was taboo for women to smoke back in the day. But he came out with a marketing campaign to make women, you know, he was like, well, if women smoke, you know how many more? There's 50% more people smoking.
Right.
So he came up with this idea to start introducing it and marketing it, that it was okay for women to smoke, and it was cool, and this and that. And after that, it was all right for women to smoke. Cigarette sales went through the roof. And, you know, he basically created the way that our marketing and advertisement takes place to make us go to the store and say, I got to get this, you know, I need that.
Mm-hmm.
He was the father of it all. And that, you know, he was dealing with very deep psychological things that, you know, were very Freudian. And they were cousins. So, I mean, they've got us way before we even knew anything. And that's why when something like when Bitcoin makes it to the nightly news, it's just like anything else, you know. When an iPhone makes it to the market, guess who's had that iPhone 15 years before, you know?
Right.
And I look at it like James Bond movies. Like James Bond will have everything 10 years before us. And that's just a real simple way of thinking about it. Like if it gets to Walmart, come on. You know, it's been out for a while.
Right.
And if you're just finding out about Bitcoin right now, you should ask yourself how stupid you've been for 9 years. You know what I mean? Honestly, because that's what I do. I'm like, man, I've been stupid.
Just not listening to the right conversations.
Yeah. And even like I'm saying, when I went to Potbellies and I saw that thing that I'd been in there 100 times and I looked at them, didn't think nothing of it. But it took me watching the guy from Manhattan Chase lying about it, and then me understanding and putting the pieces together myself and saying, no, this is exactly how the transactions will take place. They got the thing right there already. People are already doing it. They don't have to change anything. It's already there. We're already doing it. And that's how they trick us. Mm-hmm. We're like, well, we're asking, how do you do this? They're like, you're already doing it.
Basically, when's the last time you paid cash for anything? I mean, it's rare.
Yeah, really, people don't really think about that even. You know, the transformation, they're talking about, oh, cash and the collapse of the dollar, but you haven't had a dollar really anyways.
Mm-hmm. You ask anybody, if they can, you got 2 5s for this 10? Motherfucker, I don't got no cash on me.
Yeah,
right. A card with a chip in it, son.
Yep, send me some PayPal.
Yep, exactly. I can send it to you that way. But, you know, it's the future. The future, we can go in so many directions, but it's like a digital currency moving away from the dollar. At least the dollar was a physical thing if I wanted to buy something off the grid. And I'm not, I guess for example, I should say, if you don't want, it's scary in a sense if the future is completely digital currency and where everything is logged and tracked for inevitably someone, or even more scarier, or a computer to basically track and find out that you did something wrong. If I want to go buy fucking...
Well, check this out. How about localized computerized governors? You know, like let's say the mayor of each town is now a computer who keeps tabs on all the residents.
Right. And
he knows your bank account. He knows your social. He knows your blood type. He knows your iris scan. He knows your thumbprint. And that's exactly what we're moving towards, the ATM machines. And I think this is going to be possibly the way that they roll it in. Now, I heard multiple years ago that Bank of America was already testing retina scan ATMs. So if Bitcoin were to reach a certain value, you will demand that security yourself. And that's one of the main things they talk about. You know, in a time of desperation or whatever, the people will beg, they will give up their rights and beg for the security.
Well,
I don't know if I said that right.
They already have, you know, and I say they as this ominous group, but everybody, let me rephrase all that and rewind. A majority of the people using smartphones have Snapchat and have already scanned their face 10,000 times to put the filter on it.
Yep.
So they already have our faces, and whether, you know, our retina's right there. So this,
that's exactly
online, this online profile of all of us, every single one of us is somewhere. And I'm not all right with it, but I'm okay with the fact that if I like don't pay a bill, I'm trying to find like a scenario where it's not like dark, like where I murdered somebody or bought like heroin, but you know, for an example of something that I just don't want seen. You know, back in the day, if I didn't pay a bill, it took a couple days for a human to fucking figure that out, that my check bounced or whatever, and then to process it and all that shit. And then in that time, I had acquired the money and paid it, and everything was fine, right?
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to instantaneous, where it's like, oh, you didn't pay your bill, boom, all those repercussions happen, and then boom, you're fucked.
Man, I don't know if you've seen some of those previews for those movies where it's like they give these people a test, and if you don't pass the test, that's it. Like, and the dude's like, "Dad, that's my girlfriend. Like, is there anything we can do?" And he's like, "My hands are tied. She's got to get whacked. She was dumb." You know, that is it.
You know, and I'm not and the argument will be, well, just follow all the rules. But I'm not a person that likes that. I don't like to follow all the rules set by other fucking people. I will live within the moral guidelines. I'm a moral guy, but I don't like to follow rules 100% of my day. Then I don't feel like a fucking human. You know what I'm saying? When I speed, you know, these are little things. I'll drive 5 miles an hour, 10 miles an hour, whatever. These are my little ways to get
right now we have the ability to
exactly.
Sing. You might not even.
If I go on a digital road, when road, I don't want to say digital road, but LED roads or whatever, fucking like I've seen these panels that can be built into roads, and they light up and everything. It's like LED roads, no more concrete. It's gonna know exactly when my car, because it'll be so fucking smart at that time, goes over the line or speeds 1 mile an hour over.
Yeah,
but
it's
then
like
again, maybe I won't
the toll
even be
booths in
driving
Chicago. The toll booths in Chicago can track your car all around the city.
It's insane. It's insane. I'm tracked. You know, I just got a Google Pixel 2 phone, and I'm amazed at how much this phone already knows about me.
Oh yeah, dude. When it starts making suggestions to you, dude, that's what freaks you out. Like, did you want to have orange juice this morning? And you're like, how the hell did you know?
Dude, we were talking about something. I don't have it off the top of my head, but legitly, we were talking about a topic, and we didn't search it. I know we were just chatting about it.
Yep, it's totally happening. Totally.
And then fucking like the next day on my Facebook feed and my suggested ads out of nowhere, because usually it's something else. Out of nowhere, it's talking about that fucking topic, dude. And I get it if I searched on my computer. I get it. I understand then, you know, targeted ads and shit, but we were just talking about it.
Oh, I can give you one better. I can give you one better. All right, so I'm in my college class last year. It's a computer class, and we brought up, like my teacher brought up, you remember, 15 years ago when the lady spilled hot coffee on herself from McDonald's.
Yep.
Won $100 million and this, that, whatever. Boom. The kid next to me, dude, is on his computer. And this is like 7 minutes later. He's on his computer and he's like checking his Facebook, like you said. And Facebook is the #1 AI thing right now, I think, because they got your microphone, they got your camera, they plug it into everyone. It's what it is it's got the most data.
Yes.
It's the most data-rich app.
Yes.
So, and what this other guy, actually the guy who owns the Dallas Mavs, I was listening to him talk about is like, me and you can come up with a certain amount of variables to like, predict the future or whatever. But a computer can come up with every single variable.
Exactly.
And then be like, all right, on Tuesday morning, he's going to have a parched mouth. He's going to get up. He's going to want Gatorade, and it's going to be a purple one.
Mm-hmm.
And you're like, holy shnikes. No, but
dude, big data, like you said, big data.
Yeah. So the Facebook guy, the guy in my class, he gets on his computer, he's on his Facebook, and in his Facebook scroll, the same thing, an article about the McDonald's coffee, 100 million. I was like, no, that was when I was for sure about it. I was like, there's no way.
Mm-hmm.
But I was actually very scared at the same time. Like, I felt naked, literally. Like like Adam and Eve, they talk about in the Bible. Like, when I see, like you said, like it's scary. Like it's scary, but it's more than scary. It's like, you kind of cringe up a little bit and look at the sky like, are you watching me right now?
Exactly.
Like, where are you actually?
Exactly. Because all I do on every app I have is just say I accept, and I give you access to everything so I can use it, and I just go about my day. And, now all I say is okay, and I'm not even okay, and then I say GOOGLE, and my phone lights up, and so does every other Pixel. Me and my wife actually bought the exact same phone, so we could learn about it together. And as they upgrade, and it worked out better for us. And so when either one of us says that phrase, both our phones light up, and they're fucking listening, man. Fucking the people. I haven't gone as far as putting the Amazon Echo in my home or the Google Home.
But when those are the items that let you know that they're proactively seeking the information.
Yes, dude. When Google, we all know this, but I just don't think enough is Google is a fucking search bar. You go to google.com, it's a plain white screen with a cute little Google thing that changes every once in a while with the season, and it's a search bar. Yet Google is the richest company on this fucking planet. Fuck Apple. Google is embedded in everything on this planet. They're making AI. They have cars that drive themselves. Ford just bought, or some big company just bought, like 40 semis that are going to self-drive themselves. I read that article. They're the forefront of space. Like, they're not of space, but they got their hands in everything, right? All that shit costs money. And all they are a search bar. So that should tell each and every one of us how much information is worth, how much, and we're all participating, myself included. I scan my face for the Snapchat filters. I put my family tree on Facebook, a long time ago. This is my mom, confirm. This is my dad, confirm. This is my daughter, confirm. And as my daughter has grown up, there's been pictures of her. People take thousands of pictures of their kids. Yeah, that whole profile has been made. People will type in, they'll talk to Google and about a pregnancy before they talk to their family. They're going to search, what do I do when I'm pregnant? This, that, and this before they even tell their family. You know what I'm saying? Like that, for an example of how important like data is, and how unfortunately the majority of us are just proactively just giving it all away. There's a reason Facebook's free. There's a reason Google all this is free, because we're paying for it. Each of us are paying for it with a very
that open source. Data. Yeah.
And it's so scary. It's so fucking scary. Like, when you think about it, it almost feels sometimes better to walk around like naive, like Cypher does in Matrix. He decides to go back in the Matrix. He just can't handle it.
Yeah.
Naive is almost fucking it makes me feel crazy sometimes thinking about it. It's scary, it's crazy, but like I said also at the beginning of this, how exciting it is that we are alive and well and as part of this change. This
is
change.
The revolution.
Yes, exactly. And that's something to fucking be excited about and try to become a part of. And even if it's just talking about it, and that's what it is. It's talking about it and waking other people up as much as you can, and
I mean, it's up to us. There's light and dark energy out there, and every single opportunity holds within it the seed of good or bad.
Yes.
And it is only what we make of it. So if we allow the dark energy to get out in front of Bitcoin and run money like money has been known to us as an evil entity, which has kept a lot of people scared. Just the saying, the root of all evil is money, or the love of money is the root of all evil. Keeps a lot of people, even myself. I have had to confront myself personally in the mirror and ask myself, are you afraid to be a millionaire? Because as one person who is not a millionaire or is just even broke, if you can consider yourself broke, you will naturally, by default, look at the guy who just passed you in his $100,000 Mercedes, going faster than you, having a better time than you, going somewhere cooler than you, and going to have more fun than you. He will automatically be the asshole. And he will be a bad person, someone he's just not a good guy, And that is what we look at people with money as, and it's because we feel bad about not having it ourselves. So it's a defense mechanism in the same way that high school kids, or when we were kids, the only line of defense that we had between someone insulting us personally was the way that we wore our hair, the gang that we were in, or the clothing that we wore, or the tennis shoes. And 100%. By those things, if someone wanted to come up to us, and I can remember, you had all the different scenarios. You had the skater guys wore big clothes. You had the gangsters. You got the goth people that wearing black lipstick and look like vampires. You got all these weird ass people. But the thing about it is you could go up to any one of those people and be like, you're a punk ass because you look like this and your clothes. And you could say, yeah, but that's just my clothes. You don't know me. And that, as a child, because we have no money, because we have no transportation, because we don't know who we are, we put those things in front of us to look stupid, I think, to protect ourselves. And it's a weird, fucked up thing, but I've thought about that quite a bit psychologically, because I used to wear the baggy pants and the weird hair, and you do stuff for reaction because you're looking for attention. But you don't want to be hurt at the emotional level when it gets real, So if someone's going to make fun of you, it's like, okay, make fun of my clothes or my hair or my shoes.
Agreed. I remember in high school, I was, freshman, fucking chunky. I had the dorkiest glasses and huge fucking braces and a fucking weird ass haircut. But what I became elite at was mastering where a conversation, steering it, where it was going, and always was making sure that the conversation never came towards me. So zero opportunity to rag on my hair or my fucking my bullshit, and
absolutely,
it got to
some of the nicest people are like that because they feel really weird about themselves, so they're like so jovial and so they put the focus on the other person. And you'll listen to all great businessmen, like I was listening to somebody said, he was like, man, I was at it was Ty Lopez. He's like, I went to a party, I ran into Elon Musk, and he was like, and I was over there, he asked me something about Bitcoin, or I don't remember what the question was. He asked Ty, and Ty just started talking and talking and talking and talking. And then, and Elon Musk, he says, he just said like one word and walked away. And Ty was like, I fucked that all the way up because I was talking so much that I didn't learn anything.
Yep.
I should have just shut up and let him teach me some things.
Yep. Absolutely.
He walked away and he got all the info and all the stuff, and he walked away the winner.
It's all about asking questions, man.
Yeah, definitely. And put the spotlight on someone else, because everyone's favorite person to talk about and favorite name to hear is their own.
Themselves. Yep, dude.
Right?
Man. 100%. That was my big special power and skill in growing up in middle school and high school and shit.
Yeah, and it's amazing what giving some compliments and boosting somebody up can do, because it'll make them feel better, and they'll automatically want to make you feel better.
Yep, and they'll automatically seek you out in a group of fucking people to come fucking hang out next to you because you make them feel fucking cool.
Amen.
And that was some advice I actually gave to my daughter who was in high school, and so just take it slow, fucking, I was like, and I was like, this is what worked for me, and I was like, as weird as it might sound to you. And I said the exact, what we were just saying, just ask them questions, because people love to talk about themselves. And a few weeks later, we're having a conversation. She's like, I took your advice and it works. And then I was a big ass smile on my fucking face, but I was like, it's so fucking true, man. So fucking true.
Yeah. I mean, you can get so many places, being nice and
fuck yeah.
The best thing my dad ever taught me. My dad was a restaurant guy, and we were sitting at the table, and I mean, he's a clean freak too. You know what I mean? He's always straightening stuff out, just going balls to the walls, working like crazy. And we're sitting at the table one day with the restaurant table, and he takes a package of sugar off the table out of that little packet. He opens it up and just starts dumping it on the table. And then he takes the salt, he unscrews the top, and just pours some out on the table. And I'm looking at him like, holy shit, like you just made a mess, you know? And he looks at me and he says, which one is going to attract more ants? And I was like, what the fuck is he talking about?
Right.
You know? I was like, this fucking dude lost his shit. And I look, after I gave it like a minute, you know, I'm like, oh, I'm going to get this. I'm going to get this. I'm going to get this. But then I ended up being like, you got me, you know, like, teach me.
Mm-hmm.
And he just simply said, you know, you're going to attract more ants with sugar than you're going to with salt. And it's timeless, it's priceless, and it's golden. And it's so true. Even if you got to be fake, you know, if you're trying to get the job, you're going to kiss ass. If
you got to fake it till you make it, man. That's something my wife taught me. Absolutely.
Exactly. That's like me. I used to watch bowling on TV when I was young. And the first time I went bowling, I sucked, but I looked like a professional because I could swing my leg around and make my arm go up because I had seen it done.
100%.
I felt like a professional. Monkey see, monkey do.
Absolutely. Well, fucking A, man. Been rocking about an hour and a half on this podcast on this topic. I think we did a pretty good job of fucking...
Yeah, we rocked it pretty good.
History,
I'm sure people still got a bunch of questions, but...
For sure. So what that means is, as this fucking roller coaster keeps going on, maybe have you come back on within a month or so, so we can compare where we're at then to where we were at today.
Definitely. And I think, you know, the main thing that's going to be coming on board is all the back work and the hard work has been done for the network. You know, that's what's allowing it to come into reality now. Now, the next things that the layperson are going to be waiting for are those ATM machines, Amazon.com accepting Litecoin and Bitcoin. You know, some of the major retailers starting to get involved with it. And as soon as that happens, not only is the price of Bitcoin going to skyrocket, but the amount of people involved in it is going to just, you know, continue to grow exponentially.
I agree. And it's still just going to be a fucking wild west,
man. It's a roller coaster. Get some Bitcoin
yeah.
and some Litecoins if you can. And really, I mean, I would say even if you got less money, if you can open up a Coinbase account at Coinbase.com, that's going to be your first place to start. But there's many other ways to get in on some of them. And then there's hardware wallets, which is a wallet where you can keep your cryptocurrencies offline and you don't have to worry about them getting hacked or stolen or anything like that. And that's another thing. I've watched the price of those. It's $80 for a wallet a couple weeks ago, and I got on Amazon.com, and now they're $180 because that's how many people are buying them. You know, it's ridiculous. Go ahead.
I was just gonna say I want to put. You said that was Coinbase.com.
Yeah, Coinbase.com. That's the -- U.S. Exchange for getting the crypto.
I'm gonna throw that down on the description below.
Yeah, that'd be a good link.
And then and also to check into hardware wallets.
Definitely. And you could even put coinmarketcap.com on there.
Okay.
CoinMarketCap is going to be the top 100 cryptocurrencies. It's going to tell you their price, where they're at now, you know, the percentage that they're going up, the volume and the capital that they got in them. It'll give you all the stock information on it.
All right, cool.
And I would suggest, you know, most people, I check them every day. I'm keeping an eye on them. I want to know what's growing, what's not. And where to put my money, you know, because this is a revolution.
Fucking A. Fucking Bitcoin, man.
Yeah.
Taking over. Man, I never thought fucking, even last year, that it would be fucking doing a podcast about fucking Bitcoin and how it could be, you know, taken over. And again, it's what Bitcoin represents. That is what I think is really the movement is all about and the excitement is about. Of course, it being worth $20,000 is very exciting, but also to the people, it should be very exciting about what the fuck it just represents, about bringing the power back to the people, you know, somewhat. Of course, it's not going to be 100%, but it's like you said, the word revolution, and that word doesn't exist for our generation yet. So this could be our very first one, and probably fucking will be a monetary revolution, fucking to break these fucking chains from this stupid fucking printed dollar, dumb fucking bullshit. I'm ranting now, but fucking A, brother. You got anything else you want to say before we go?
Nah, I mean, I think we covered it all. We could definitely do another one here in a couple weeks, and I got to do some homework myself. I got a lot of educating to do. I got some books I'm going to be ordering here. And I would say also, I just would put out there that Andreas Antonopoulos, he's the #1 guy to listen to if you can find a
AKA Bitcoin Jesus.
Yeah, Bitcoin Jesus.
Yep.
He's the man, and he's got live. They've got the Parliament questionnaires that he gives to the Canadian government and the Australian government. Those are on YouTube. You can look them up. You can listen to all the question and answers that he's got and make up your mind for yourself, you know. But
fuck yeah,
that's where it's at.
Awesome. Fucking A, man. Everybody, fucking Nickey P, thanks for coming on, brother. I appreciate it.
You bet, man. Thanks for having me. It was a pleasure.
All right, brother. You take care, and I'll talk to you fucking soon, okay?
All right, man. Take care.
Right. Peace. All right, everybody. That's it. Fucking episode 10 is in the books. I want to thank Nickey P for your time, brother. Coming on to the BrahjCast and giving the millions and millions of the BrahjCast fans all your knowledge on Bitcoin. Oh, boy, I really fucking did a stretch there. Really stretched it out, trying to fucking be the Rock. This definitely isn't going to make the fuck. This is cut number fucking 62. Anyway, what the fuck? Websites, yes. Coinbase.com, coinmarketcap.com. Keep up with the fucking cryptocurrencies of today and tomorrow. If you want to read the greatest book ever written, go to HaleySpaghetti.com and check that shit out. Man, I gotta fucking have something cooler to say when I'm fucking using this opportunity to plug my fucking book. But that's all I gotta say. It's the greatest fucking book ever written. That's it. Oh my god, I sound like such a cornball. One day I will end this fucking show. I will end one of these podcasts cool as shit, sounding awesome, and where everybody's gonna be like, damn, that was dope. Gonna tell my friends. But until then, fuck it. I love you all. Don't forget to like and subscribe. It really helps. Keep us rolling on iTunes. Got us on YouTube. Fucking tell your friends. Hide your kids. Hide your wife. Oh my god. Anyway, that's it. I'm out. By the time you're listening to this, it should be about Christmas time. Merry Christmas. Happy holidays. Be safe. And I'm gone. And good night.
Don't forget to like and subscribe.